This is the Modern Architect radio show and podcast. The Modern Architect features one-on-one interviews with renowned and cutting-edge architects, influencers, and sustainability leaders. Our show informs and illuminates the transformation that architecture brings to our cities, communities, and lives. And now, introducing the host of The Modern Architect, Tom Dioro.
Our show today, we're honored and I'm really excited to talk to, is Casey Ocalan, President, Chief Executive, and Lead Designer of Casey Ocalan Golf Design Incorporated in Newport Beach, California. Their focus is new golf course design, master planning, course restoration, as well as resort development projects throughout North America, Asia, and Latin America. Casey's also a graduate of UC Berkeley School of Environmental Design. Feel free to reach them on the web or view them on the web at golfcoursedesign.net. Again, that's golfcoursedesign.net. Today's episode is made possible by Swatchbox, the leading sample platform for architects and designers. Swatchbox brings thousands of product samples from the world's leading manufacturers into one platform. Browse materials for inspiration, create custom collections, then request your samples for free with automatic next day or second day shipping. Get started at swatchbox.com. Casey, really honored and thrilled to have you on The Modern Architect. Thanks for being here.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Casey, can you share with us a quote or a mantra, a prayer that you refer to every now and then when life can sometimes get a little challenging and you need a bit of a breakthrough or a fresh perspective?
I think there's two. And for me, God is in control, and I'm trying to do the best that I can. I am absolutely a work in progress, and I like to think that I have I never stop learning. I truly just appreciate what I do and love learning, love the projects.
Excellent. I like that you consider yourself a work in progress, and spiritually, how does that really work and move with you, or even how the early inspiration for such a spiritual background influenced you as a professional as well?
I think what I've come to realize, and I didn't realize this early on in my career, is it's not all about me. It's about the relationships that I have, the people that I come in contact with. I absolutely love golf course design. There are so many aspects of it that meet me on a technical and aesthetic and just interest level. But really, it's the people that I work with, whether it be the superintendents, the general managers, the owners. Those relationships are invaluable.
Now, the spiritual, as a child, did you grow up in the church? How did you get such a deep connection? If you're at liberty to share.
I did not grow up in the church, and truth be told, I grew up mocking Christians and Christianity.
Did you really? Wow.
I did. And for, oddly enough, for some of all the right reasons, because I think sometimes you see hypocrisy with people who claim to be Christians, and which is true, but I think all of us are somewhat a little hypocritical in one sense or another, but sometimes it's easy to kind of pigeonhole who a Christian is. Not until later in my life, probably about my late 20s, did I really kind of meet a few people who resonated with me, who I thought were normal people, but also followed Christ. And there was an attractiveness to that. And it's kind of been that slow journey, but that was probably the late 90s. And I've been trying to follow God and pursue Christ for the last 25, 30 years.
Yeah, terrific. Now, as inspiration, especially out there on the golf course or in nature, how does that reflect in I've seen your the website and the photos and the pictures that you have there. It's phenomenal. It's actually quite heavenly, your courses. Is that by design or it's part of skill and then part of your inspiration?
Wow, that's a good question. I would say that I think a lot of what I try to do tries to emulate what I think is in nature, and really, divine inspired. I mean, I pray a lot, but I would say that that emulating nature and emulating natural conditions and trying to kind of create something that is pleasing to the eye is a big part of what I try to do.
How would you say, what's the feeling like for you when you've completed a course, no pun intended, a project, and you see the players and the people comment without them knowing you're there, or you were even the designer? What's that feel like for you?
It's great. It's really interesting and fun. And two kind of quick side notes. One is I grew up playing golf because my dad loved golf, and I never played competitively, but I loved playing with my dad. And it's been really special on kind of the grand opening of a few courses to have him there or play golf with him. And I know that's a little bit of a kind of a side comment, but it's interesting. Just the other day, I was on an airport shuttle bus coming back from a project, and I saw somebody wearing the logo of a golf course that I had worked on. And so it was interesting to kind of pepper them as to ask them about the new work that we'd done on the golf course without them knowing who I was, and get kind of unfiltered feedback. So it's great. I love seeing the finished product. I love seeing people play what we've created.
Can you share with us some of the designs and projects that you've worked on? You don't have to name names or courses unless you want to, but I'd love to hear it. If you don't mind, even kind of from a quick start to finish, how does it begin and how does it get to where you go, okay, I think we're done, and it's maintenance, if that's the correct process.
Okay, so there's two questions. I think the courses that I've worked on, a lot of work in Southern California. I did a golf course called Arroyo Trabuco down in Mission Viejo. I co-designed it with Tom Lehman, professional golfer. Wonderful experience. That was in the early 2000s. Did a neat project out in Palm Springs called Indian Canyons Golf Resort. That was in the mid 2000s. And then the nature of the business changed a little bit. There was a lot of new golf course construction in the first part of my career. And then there was just simply overbuilding of golf courses, and the new golf course construction stopped and the renovation or restoration work began. And so most of my work has been in that kind of in that venue. Did a couple big projects, Industry Hills Golf Club in the City of Industry. There was a 36-hole renovation, and then a lot of private clubs, Friendly Hills Country Club, Red Hill Country Club, and then most recently Newport Beach Country Club, as well as I'm working up in Northern California at Blackhawk Country Club with those members.
And what's that like for you? Is it, or if you can't explain without giving away your secret sauce, is the process when you are first approached by a client that you go through to ascertain exactly, what it is that they're looking for, and what's the purpose of the course, and what's the outcome?
Sure. And it really often starts with their goals, and really trying to listen to them as to what they're trying to achieve, whether it means trying to attract more members or more golfers, whether or not they have a specific budget in mind, whether or not they've got maintenance concerns that they're trying to address, or water restrictions. And then sometimes they don't quite know what they want, and you can kind of guide them or ask them some questions that really draw that out. And that's an interesting process. I've learned over the years, and I kind of say this humbly, but sometimes what they think they want isn't always what they want, and it's something else, and you have to kind of tease that out of them and then help them understand that.
Yeah, it's like you're a bit of a psychologist too.
I'm not sure about that, but I try to read my audience.
Yeah, well, the attracting new members and whatever their goals are with it, is there anything that you've found, again, without giving away your secret sauce, is that really, when you're complete, when the project's complete, that there's just going to be an increase in new members because it's just either more beautiful, it's more challenging, it's more player friendly, whatever it is that they're looking for. Is that by design, by design?
Absolutely, and that's often, especially with the private country club members, they really want to, often it is, how do we make our course more attractive? And it's a little bit of, it's almost like you live on your street and your neighbor down the street remodeled their kitchen or their bathroom. And you're like, well, gosh, my kitchen doesn't look so great. How do I make it look better? But there's been plenty of courses, in fact, and we've actually kind of done studies with these courses where we've gone in and identified within their budget what they can afford, what is going to be the best bang for buck, what is going to give the most visual appeal and kind of attract golfers. And then it's really interesting to see how that really impacts the membership. We can do it in different ways. Often it's like a sand bunker renovation really adds a lot of aesthetic appeal. It's one thing that the members and the people can see right out of the gates, the flash of the sand, the way that it sets up, the strategic interest of it. Whereas a new irrigation system, which may be desperately needed, everything's underground, and maybe the turf conditions get a little bit better, but it doesn't always mean that all the members are gonna see it.
Excellent. This is the Modern Architect podcast. Casey, go ahead and tell them your website where they can go to, and a little bit about you as well.
Oh, sure. So our website is www.golfcoursedesign.net, and if it tells about our projects, the process that we go through in designing new golf courses and restoring and renovating existing golf courses.
Excellent. Is there, if you're at liberty to share, what recent project that you've worked on or are working on currently?
Sure. So we've got a couple. We just finished a project, Newport Beach Country Club in Newport Beach. It was a 3-month renovation project, and it just finished, and it's reopening as we speak. And that's been a really fun and challenging project. We kept the golf course open during construction and did quite a bit of work out there. And so far the reviews have been really, really good, which is dynamite. I'm currently working at Blackhawk Country Club with them on the final phase of a sand bunker renovation project. So I'm up in Northern California about once a week, once every 2 weeks. And then we've got another project under construction called Diamond Bar Golf Course. It's a County of Los Angeles project that is tied in with a freeway expansion that impacted the golf course so much that the entire golf course needs to be rebuilt. We're in the process of that right now. And then lastly, not to talk too much, but I've got about 3 or 4 other projects in the planning phase. And what's nice is a really nice work balance is to have certain projects in the preliminary design phase, other projects in construction documents, and then other projects in construction. And sometimes it gets a little top heavy in one or the other, but that's a nice balance, and that's where we're at right now.
Can you share with your audience today just some of the process that you go through personally and professionally after you've talked with the client and you see what you're going to be working with? What kind of goes through your head, your mind, and even your heart when you just view it, in a state of peace?
I guess first and foremost, I'm trying to do the best job I can for my client, and really kind of put what I want to the side and really kind of focus on what they want. And so I think about that as I'm doing the design work, and especially with the fact that part of the design process that I go through is I don't have one particular design style that I stick with. You can look at 3 different projects and the shape of the bunkers or the greens or the slopes can be completely different because I think it needs to fit to that specific client. And then the other part that I really enjoy that is part of that process is during the design phase is really trying to visualize what that is going to look like when I'm standing out in the field and trying to articulate that and present it to the client so that they can understand it.
Yeah. What in particular, is every project different? Or is there quite a few
They're
similarities?
so different. Yes, I mean some are. 3 or 4 years ago, and this will probably come up again, we were doing a lot of turf reduction projects where we were trying to reduce the amount of irrigated acres for the golf course, based on the drought conditions that we're in. The you know we're doing bunker renovation projects, we're doing green renovation projects, we're doing even some like smaller landscape projects that are associated with the golf course. So some are small, some have kind of, some have budgets, construction budgets of $40,000 or $50,000, and then we've got one this isn't completely my work, but the entire project budget is $40 million. So there's a huge array of scope and size that we work on.
Now, how do you find the clients? Are they come to you, you go to them, a little both?
It's a little both. I remember when I started out that I didn't have any clients. And so I honestly, I wrote a letter to every golf course that I could find in Southern California trying to get work those first few years, which wasn't as successful as I kind of hoped it would be. But I think what's happened is I love what I do, and I believe I'm good at what I do, and I care about what I do, and I care about the people that I work with, and I think that has continued to grow. And so I still kind of hunt for new projects, but I'm also pretty blessed where I feel like I get a lot of repeat customers, or the best kind of recommendation you can get is an unsolicited one where one person says, "Hey, I've worked with Casey. He's great. This is who you want to call and talk to." And half the battle is just being able to talk to them. And often we compete against other architects during that process, but often we'll just get repeat clients that want to work with us.
What was a deciding factor, or maybe even a galvanizing moment, when you said, "You know what, I want to begin and launch my own golf course design firm"?
Well, that's a little bit of ignorance is bliss.
Okay.
I had worked for Cal Olson, who is another golf course architect. I'd worked for him for 3 years, and I was young and thought I was really smart and that I could go out and do it on my own. It was as simple as that. And so I decided to launch back in 1993. And looking back, I realized how maybe unprepared I was for that. And not to say on a skill level, but just running a business and marketing. I thought I'm going to start my own business and people are going to come knocking on the door. And that was not the case at all. But I knew that, I think I just always knew growing up that I wanted to work for myself. My dad was a dentist. He was self-employed, and I saw his lifestyle, and I think it just resonated with me.
Wow. So it wasn't a moment that you said, aha, or lightning struck you.
The moment came, I was thinking about this. So I graduated UC Berkeley, and I graduated with an environmental design degree, and I was in architecture. And I love that experience, and it really prepared me for what I liked about the school is it really was more theoretical and talked about the design thought and process and less about the technical side of it. But I graduated school knowing that I did not want to be an architect. It was like I checked off one box of one thing I didn't want to do, and I was open to anything else. The defining moment, I graduated, and I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And my parents encouraged me to travel. And so I went traveling around the world for about 6 months. And on that trip, I was with one of my best friends in Thailand, kind of bemoaning, what am I going to do? And he kind of put two and two together. He said, you grew up playing golf. You've got this background in golf. You've got this background with design. What about golf course design? And a light bulb went off, and I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. And the rest is history.
Yeah. How about even creating a legacy? I mean, I don't know how involved you have in your life, your family life, that this is something that you do for now, even beyond the lifetime.
I'm not sure I understand about that. The question.
If you create a legacy, for your family, the family name of golf course design. I don't know if you've thought, maybe I'm thinking a little too far ahead, but uh, there are people that do things for a couple hundred years.
Yeah, yeah, and one of the things I like about what I do or what we do, what golf architects do, is you get to build something that people get to enjoy, and it's out there, and golf courses are around for a really long time, and so it's neat to see people play what we design.
Yeah. What are some of a couple of challenges that you face when looking at a completely new golf course? Is it water, the city, dealing with the cities, the public works, or what would you say is, if there is one or two, of the unique challenges to your profession?
I don't know if it's unique. Often when you're doing a project with a city or a county, and a lot of that permitting process can get fairly onerous. Um, I would say that I think what's unique to our profession is that I think at the end of the day, every golf course, every person who plays golf, kind of in their head thinks I'm a golf course designer, and we kind of joke the two easiest professions. What is it? Is a college basketball coach and a superintendent? Well, I'd add golf course designer to that. I think everybody thinks that they could probably do it better.
Okay. Wow. This is the Modern Architect podcast, and uh, our guest today, Casey. Go ahead and introduce yourself again, or reintroduce yourself again today.
Sure. My name is Casey Ocalan, and I'm president of Casey Ocalan Golf Course Design, and I'm here based in Southern California designing golf courses.
Terrific. And your website that they can feel free to go to visit, Casey.
Oh, sure. Sorry, it's golfcoursedesign.net.
Now, Casey, with the we're going to do a public service, and this for the Grace Fellowship Church, and their values is that God is the greatest treasure in the universe. Therefore, they seek to treasure God in their hearts and minds, and make daily decisions that reflect what a treasure He is to us. For more information, feel free to visit the gracefellowshipchurch.org. Again, gracefellowshipchurch.org. Casey, can you share with us why the Grace Fellowship Church matters so much to you?
Well, we love attending there, and I can tell you that the leadership at Grace Fellowship Church is top notch. They really have a heart for God and a heart for the congregation, and that comes out in everything that they do. So we love it.
Excellent. Now, what's changed, Casey, in the last couple of years with the in your industry, and even maybe just even in the profession, that is unique in the last couple of years versus, say, the previous 2 years?
Yeah, sure. I think there's a few things that come to mind. One is that back in the late '90s, it seemed that the idea for golf was longer golf courses, harder golf courses, and I think what everyone realized is that golf wasn't fun with longer or harder golf courses, and I think it drew some people away. And so I think what many architects have realized is that golf is supposed to be fun. Let's make it enjoyable. Let's make it interesting. Let's make it fun. And so people aren't necessarily trying to design longer golf courses. They're trying to create more interesting golf courses that are playable for golfers of all levels. The other thing is, I guess the other thing is that the pandemic has really been a shot in the arm for the golf course industry. It's interesting how many young people between and even everyone of all ages, but I've seen it kind of that 10 to 30 year age range where when the pandemic hit, one of the few things you could do is go out and play golf, and it really brought a lot of people to golf, and I think people realized all the benefits of why golfers love golf.
Casey, what would you like to share with your audience today that we may not have touched on?
What would I like to share? I love what I do. I am truly blessed by this profession. As I said, I love the people that I work with, but I love the fact that I get to kind of scratch the itch of the aesthetic side, the technical side, and just the being outdoors and doing something that I truly love. So it's a great profession.
Excellent. Casey, it's been a real honor and pleasure having you as our guest today. Thank you very much.
Tom, thank you. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you. You've been listening to The Modern Architect. I'm Tom Dior. Our guest today has been Casey Ocalan, President, Chief Executive, and Lead Designer of Casey Ocalan Golf Design Incorporated in Newport Beach, California. Their focus is new golf course design, master planning, course restoration, as well as resort development projects throughout North America, Asia, and Latin America. Casey is a graduate of UC Berkeley School of Environmental Design. For more information, feel free to visit their website at golfcoursedesign.net. Again, that's golfcoursedesign.net. Join us again next time when we welcome another outstanding architect, engineer, influencer, or civic leader committed to positive and sustainable cities, communities, and lives. Thank you for listening. Today's episode is made possible by Swatchbox, the leading sample platform for architects and designers. Swatchbox brings thousands of product samples from the world's leading manufacturers into one platform. Browse materials for inspiration, create custom collections, then request your samples for free with automatic next day or second day shipping. Get started at swatchbox.com.